8 months pregnant, someone gave me an abortion pill and blood stained the floor. Qin Shuo rushed me to the hospital, crying all the way and running countless red lights, and found the top gynecological expert just to save my life. On the operating table, I woke up early and heard him talking to my brother. Didn't we agree to only abort the baby? Why was the uterus also removed? Qin Shuo, what right do you have to deprive her of the right to be a mother? Qin Shuo's usually gentle voice was as cold as ice. Letting this child live for 8 months is the greatest mercy I can show. Only my and Ayu's child is worthy of the position of heir to the Qin family, and this is what she owes you. She must repay it. It turns out a perfect marriage was just wishful thinking on my part. From beginning to end, Qin Shuo loved my fake heiress sister. In that case, I'll grant you your wish. The abortion pills are so strong that Nan will never be able to have children in the future with her body, and with our support, Xiaozun's position will be unshakable. Can you imagine how devastated she must have been when she woke up and found her child gone and her uterus removed? After a long silence, Qin Shuo's cold voice slowly rang out. For you, I must eliminate all potential dangers. This is also what she owes you. Besides, she and you are sisters. What more could she want than to raise a used child? The wound in my abdomen felt as if it had been torn open by someone. I seemed to see that fully formed boy again, his body turning purplish-black, struggling desperately, but ultimately breathing his last. You're being so ruthless. I'm afraid you'll regret it in the future, Qin Shuo. I can see clearly that you're not without feelings for Nan. If it weren't to make up for her, you wouldn't have insisted on breaking off our engagement and going abroad, and still refuses to come back. Qin Shuo said in a faint tone, allowing her to conceive my child once is already a use concession. I owe you too much, I can't repay it all in this lifetime. My brother's voice was laced with anger. Then you insist on chasing after you. The atmosphere between them froze. I lay on the hospital bed, silently shedding tears, not daring to make a sound. Why isn't she awake yet? I felt Qin Shuo gently brush my forehead. She just had a hysterectomy. Being in a coma for so long won't damage her body, right? He did such a terrible thing to me, yet he speaks in such a nonchalant tone, truly a wolf in sheep's clothing. I slowly opened my eyes and met his instantly gentle gaze. I had always been deceived by Qin Shuo's gentle and affectionate face, thinking he loved me as much as I loved him, so when a pool of blood flowed from under me, I tried my best to save the child. I spared no expense, sacrificing my lifespan to insert several needles into extremely dangerous acupoints, all for the sake of staying awake and having the strength to give birth. But I never expected that he was the real executioner. He was the one who put a potent abortifacient in my food, deliberately causing me to hemorrhage, and even paid a high price to hire the director of the Qin family hospital. What a venomous heart. My beloved husband, the marriage I thought would be blissful and happy, was all a lie. For the sake of his illegitimate child, Qin Shuo murdered me and his own flesh and blood with his own hands. Just so that the child of the fake heiress who stole 18 years of my life could smoothly inherit the Qin family fortune. And he dares to say that I owe her. Thinking of this, I trembled all over. The wound on my abdomen throbbed, turning my face pale, but it didn't compare to even a fraction of the pain in my heart. Qin Shuo couldn't hide from my emotional fluctuations. He hugged me tightly, his tone gentle and full of pity. Nan, although our child is gone, rest assured that I will always be by your side. Believe me, sometimes losing is also a kind of gaining. Qin Shuo kissed my brows and eyes with tenderness. However sad you are, I'm 10,000 times sadder than you. I clenched my fists, blinking hard, trying to hide the uncontrollable hatred in my eyes so he wouldn't notice. How sad are you? Qin Shuo looked down at me, his eyes swollen like walnuts, as if he had been crying for a very long time. The unparalleled sadness. The moment my child died, my world went dark. Thankfully, you're still here, otherwise I really wouldn't be able to go on living. What an act. No wonder I never realized all these years that he's always been in love with Qinyu. When I first got pregnant, Qin Shuo posted several updates on his WeChat timeline, excitedly saying that he was going to be a father. Later in the pregnancy, my appetite wasn't good, so he specially learned to cook for me and cooked himself. But who could have predicted that this was his long-term plan for that illegitimate child? Qin Shuo went downstairs to the cafeteria to get food, but left his spare phone behind. The password wasn't my birthday, But Chin Yu's birthday unlocked it successfully, and the pages of chat history made me dizzy. So we are so sorry to your sister for doing this. I am 8 months pregnant, and Qin Shua travels back and forth between domestic and international business trips, so the days he spends with me are few and far between. I feel sorry for him, so I only tell him the good news and not the bad about the various hardships of prenatal checkups and morning sickness, trying my best not to worry him about me. Now I know that the days he spent abroad were all spent accompanying Qin Yu for prenatal checkups and childbirth. The endless chat logs were filled with his and Qin Yu's moments together, and he was never absent from every important day of her pregnancy. Qin Shua rubbed pregnancy oil on her, learned traditional Chinese medicine to massage her swollen feet, and even used his hands to dig out the filth when she was constipated. Further up, there were arguments between Qin Shua and Qin Yu about the child's custody. In the end, Qin Yu agreed to let me raise the child, but she still wanted to pursue her career abroad. I closed my eyes. I remember when Qin Yu and I were exposed, Qin Yu smiled at me with relief and said, "Sister, I never wanted to blame you for taking away Mom and Dad. I yearn for a wider world. Don't worry, I won't fight with you for Qin Shua either." She ran abroad and became a light chaser. My parents resented me for her departure, and only made a brief appearance at my wedding. And Qin Shua killed my child for Qin Yu just to pave the way for her child. I really envy her. Everyone loves her, no one loves me. Since that's the case, I should leave too. With a heavy heart, I put down my phone and sent a WeChat message to my master, promising him that I would go back in a month to accompany him to gather herbs in the mountains. I don't trust the hospital food, so I cooked some myself for you. See if it suits your taste. Qin Shua personally fed me bite by bite, and large tears fell into the bowl. He gently wiped away my tears, teasing me, "Little crybaby, are you crying from being touched already?" I lowered my eyes and didn't say a word. Not touched but saddened. I only have this treatment because Qin Yu repeatedly asked for it for me. I'm just benefiting from her. Seeing me like this, Qin Shua hugged me with heartache. "Nan, are you missing the child again?" His mention of it caused my emotions to collapse again and tears burst out. Qin Shua was pacing around anxiously, and finally, as if struck by a flash of inspiration, he said, "I've got it. I heard your sister has a child abroad and she's always moving around. Why don't we bring her child back and raise it as our own? We'll tell everyone it's yours, so both sets of parents will have an explanation, and it will save you from being criticized." I looked up at him dazed. If I didn't already know what Qin Shua was doing behind the scenes, I probably would have really thought he was doing it for my sake. But I've already decided to leave and give them my blessing. This is good, everyone's happy. Qin Shua looked surprised and delighted, hugging me and vowing like an oath, "I will be good to you for the rest of my life, Nan Nan. When the child is older, we'll travel around and see the sights. Don't you always want to go back and see the place where you grew up?" He rambled on about the wonderful future, but little did he know that this perfect new life would never begin because I was leaving. Qin Shua couldn't wait and brought Qin Yu and the child back to China in just a few days, holding a family banquet. "I thought I should at least let Mom and Dad know, and you should miss them too." Qin Shua looked at me cautiously, afraid that I would be angry. In the Qin family villa, Mom and Dad were teasing Xiao Zun, their faces full of the joy of being grandparents for the first time. Qin Yu sat beside them, still like a little girl. My mother, while doting on her grandson, gently stroked Qin Yu with great affection. "Yu has been wronged outside, don't worry, this child is our Qin family's grandson." I felt a stinging in my eyes, but still wore a smile as I stepped forward to greet them. My parents' attitude suddenly became extremely cold. "Who are you pulling that gloomy face for? Are you deliberately trying to upset us? Look at you, she's so much more sensible than you. I really don't understand what you're doing. You're almost due and you're still eating things you shouldn't. Now look, the baby's gone and you has to clean up your mess in the end. Knowing that the Qin family would be here today, you still wear such plain clothes to offend everyone? You never know how to bring honor to the family. We shouldn't have brought you back in the first place, causing you to be bullied abroad for so many years, unable to return home. I know my parents look down on me. They think I can't bring them glory and I'm not worthy of the Qin family's status. It's just a pity that Qin Yu, the daughter they're so proud of, isn't their biological child. It wasn't until Qin Yu took the initiative to go abroad, and the Qin family had no choice but to accept me, that they resigned themselves to fate, but they became even more dissatisfied with me. At the wedding, my dad didn't see me off and my mom sat in her seat with a sullen face. In the past, Qin Shuo would protect me and speak up for me, but now his eyes are glued to Qinyu, full of tenderness. He completely forgot that the reason my baby was stillborn was because he took advantage of my trust and put an abortifacient in my food. Qinyu walked up to me with the baby in her arms, her eyes crinkling sincerely. "Sister, look at Xiaozuan, isn't he especially cute?" He was indeed very cute. His eyebrows and eyes were just like Qinyu's, and his lips and chin were as if they were carved from the same mold as Qin Shuo's. My fingertip brushed across the child's face, and a monstrous hatred surged in my eyes. But why can he live well and enjoy a wealthy and beautiful life, while my child was poisoned to death without even seeing this world once? Xiaozun. Yes, Qin Shuo's friend helped me find a foreign numerology master to name him, hoping that he can enjoy life, be safe, wealthy, and prosperous in the future. Back then, to name my child, I scoured dictionaries, just to find a good name with a good meaning that could bless him with health, happiness, and peace. Qin Shuo laughed at me for doing useless work, saying that a child's fate is predetermined at birth, and naming is just psychological comfort. But then spending tens of millions to find a numerology master to name Qinyu and her child. My mouth feels bitter, I force a smile. It is indeed a good name. Noticing something was off with the child's expression, I slid my hand towards the back of his neck, but before I could do anything I heard Qinyu scream, "What are you trying to do to my child, sister?" The next second Qin Shuo pushed me to the ground, roaring at me. "Qin Nanan, what do you want to do to Xiaotuan? Just because your child died, you want to hurt your sister's child too? Are you even human?" I fell to the ground, the palm of my hand scraped against the ground, breaking the skin, a heart-wrenching pain. But Qin Shuo didn't even look at me. He and Qinyu held the frightened child, one on each side like a real family of three. My parents looked at me angrily, blindly protecting their own. "Qin Nan, don't blame us for doting on a you. Look at you, what part of you can compare to a you? And you're so vile and dark, not even letting such a small child go. You beast. What are you still doing lying on the ground? Get out of here, don't be an eyesore in front of us. You've ruined our good mood." The Qin family elders who had just arrived asked about the situation, their eyes full of disappointment towards me. "We don't blame you for accidentally losing the child, and we never even thought about letting you two divorce even if you can't have children anymore. But why would you harm a small baby? Qin Yu's child must be entered into the Qin family's genealogy. Whether you agree or not, this won't change the fact. Go back and reflect on your behavior." At that moment, I really wanted to say nothing, but considering the child's life was innocent, I said softly, "It's easy for a small child to suffocate with a red string around their neck." Qin Yu opened the baby's neck and found it was red, and her face was filled with shame. Qin Shuo told me not to mind. "You is just worried about the child, not deliberately targeting you." My mom said impatiently, "If there was a real problem, why didn't you say so earlier? Who are you trying to get sympathy from by acting miserable? Besides, if you hadn't been so unlucky as to kill your child, would your sister have sacrificed herself to raise the child for you? You should be thanking her." Everyone was on Qin Yu's side, condemning me for her sake. My eyes were blurred with tears. I went upstairs without saying a word and threw the printed divorce agreement into the shredder. "I'm not getting a divorce. They don't love me or believe me, so forget it. I will completely disappear from your lives. I don't want you anymore." I sat in the guest room for a long time, listening to the laughter downstairs, and gradually fell asleep. I woke up again to a silent villa. My stomach was in terrible pain, so I went downstairs to find something to eat. The maid said disdainfully that there was nothing to eat and that I could make it myself. The ingredients were in the basement. But at the basement door, I saw Qin Yu straddling Qin Shuo's head, her voice coquettish. "Shuo, what if my sister finds out? She'll be sad." I'm so uncomfortable, Shuo." Qin Shuo smirked seductively. You clearly enjoy this, so why do you always reject me? Don't worry, she won't find out. I also promise I won't tie you down with marriage, but you have to satisfy me." Qin Yu held Qin Shuo's head in her hands, thrusting her hips forward. "Qin Shuo, just this once. After I go abroad, I won't disturb your happiness with my sister anymore. Let's just be the purest childhood sweethearts." Qin Shuo didn't say anything more. The disgusting sounds drilled into my ears with the wind, making me feel sick and unable to stand still. I staggered and ran out of there. It wasn't until I was far away from that suffocating place that I barely regained my senses, and large tears fell to the ground. I slumped helplessly on the curb. The next moment, Chin Yu's soft and uneasy voice sounded. "Sister, I'm sorry about what happened today." "Which one are you referring to?" I looked at her guilty, flickering eyes. It's just that I misunderstood that you were going to hurt Zayatoru. I'm a first-time mother and I overreacted to my child's safety. It wasn't directed at you. Also, I promised Qin Shuo that I would let you raise the child. In the future, nothing will affect your relationship. From now on, Zayatoru will be your own child. Qin Yu's eyes were red as she said this and she choked up. "Don't worry, sister, I will go abroad after Zayatoru's full moon banquet and never come back again. I'll leave mom and dad, Zayatoru and Qin Shuo in your care." This look, full of affection but forced to yield, overlapped with the year she went abroad. An uncontrollable pain in my chest. How could she so innocently, so nonchalantly steal mom and dad's, Qin Shuo's love, and still act so incredibly sincere? I grabbed Qin Yu's collar, but before I could utter a word of questioning, I was kicked away violently. The stones on the ground dug into my wounds, old wounds adding new ones, the pain blackening my vision. Qin Yu exclaimed in alarm, wanting to come help me, but Qin Shuo held her in his arms. "Qin Nanan, if you have a problem, come at me." Qin Yu explained softly, "A Shuo isn't like that, elder sister, she didn't. I saw it all. What are you still covering up for her? From the day she came back, she's never had good intentions towards you." Qin Shuo looked at me with a gloomy face. "You killed your own child and still dare to target a you, Qin Nanan. You really are incorrigible as always." "Incorrigible? I killed my own child." Tearing open the clothes at my uterus, I angrily questioned and roared, "I killed my own child? I ate the food you cooked for me and then I had a massive hemorrhage. How did my child die and why can't I get pregnant again?" Qin Shuo said without any guilt, "How could I have made a mistake cooking for you? Who knows what you ate before? You had your uterus removed because you're useless and you still have the nerve to question me? You almost became a mother yourself. How could you bear to hurt another mother who was willing to let you raise her child? Apologize to you right now." "Ah, what a righteous and confident face. My child was killed and I should be grateful. Thank you." I suddenly bowed deeply, then turned and left. Qin Shuo suddenly felt a pang of panic, feeling like he was about to lose something, but he shook his head again, thinking it was just a fit of pique. Once Aiyue left, he could coax Nan Nan and she would definitely forgive him. A few more days passed and it was Qin Yu's and my birthday. Qin Shuo spent lavishly on Qin Yu with drones and fireworks lighting up the entire night, topping the trending searches one after another. The Qin family also booked the Grand Hyatt building for Qin Yu, playing birthday wishes in rotation. I cooked myself a bowl of longevity noodles and packed up all my belongings to distribute to the homeless people nearby. The next day they seemed to remember it was my birthday yesterday, and my brother guiltily sent me a cake by express delivery. Qin Shuo sent a necklace as a gift through his secretary. And I squatted by the trash can, burning all the wedding photos and marriage certificate bit by bit, the ashes scattering with the wind. On the third morning, Qin Shuo called me. "Nanan, I forgive you for what happened in the past. Dress nicely for the full moon banquet today. I'll have my secretary pick you up at noon." I smiled and agreed as if I truly had no grudges. After hanging up the phone, I changed into the old clothes I was wearing when I was found and went straight to the hotel. The auspicious time for the full moon banquet has passed, and I still haven't shown up. Qin Shuo's face was not very pleasant. At this time, Qin Nanan was still throwing a tantrum at him, becoming more and more insensible. He forcibly suppressed the unease in his heart. He coldly ordered people to go find me. My parents' faces darkened when they heard the news. Outrageous. I say we should have let you marry into the Qin family to be reliable. Qin Shuo's mother frowned slightly but didn't say anything. Just then someone rushed in Fengli Hongdong from outside. "It's terrible, President Qin, your wife jumped off the building." Qin Shuo and the others stared wide-eyed in disbelief. "What? Qin Nanan jumped off a building?" A crowd rushed out, sirens and ambulances already arriving, a pool of blood on the ground, a white cloth covering a thin body, revealing a section of old gray clothing. Madame Chen covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. "This is the clothes Nanan wore when she came home." Qin Shuo simply didn't believe it. He rushed into the cordon, roaring at them to lift the body and let him see. "Who are you?" "I'm her husband. I'm her lover." These unwavering words instantly paled Chinyu, who had run out with them. She bit her lip and stepped forward to comfort Qin Shuo, but before she could speak, the next second, a well-edited video was played on the big screen in the square, starting with me sitting at home eating longevity noodles and speaking, followed by a video of Chinyu and Qin Shuo's intimate actions. Their conversation is also played clearly. Finally, there's the dialogue of Qin Shuo instructing the doctor to remove my uterus, the truth about my child's death, and the shocking revelation of Qin Shuo forcing me to raise Chinyu and his child. Qin Shuo was trembling all over, his face pale. So it turned out that Nan Nan knew everything. He thought Nan Nan was immersed in the pain of losing her child and should be sad and helpless, unable to care about these things, but he didn't expect that she would wake up early at the cost of her life to protect the child. He even thought he had concealed it well, presumptuously believing that he and Nan Nan would have a better future. How desperate Nan Nan must have felt, waking up early on the operating table and hearing her conversation with the doctor. Qin Shuo didn't dare to think about it anymore. His mind exploded into a blank. Everything about the Zhou dynasty was now far away from him. Only Nan Nan's voice and smile echoed in his mind, and that child. He had only seen that child once, very beautiful, resembling Nan Nan a little more. He personally strangled the crystallization of his love with Nan Nan. The onlookers were also stunned, erupting in heated discussions. Holy moly, are real-life legal drama shows actually a thing? Killing his own child for a mistress, removing his wife's uterus. None of this is humanly possible. The Qin family of Password is going down. The Qin family is also something else, not caring for their own flesh and blood, but treating someone with no blood relation like a treasure. Qin Yu's birthday celebrations cost tens of millions each year, and they never once celebrated Qin Nanan's birthday. And I don't believe they didn't know she was suffering so much. I bet they pushed Qin Nanan to the brink before she jumped. This Qin Yu is a master manipulator. When she was a child, she stole the real heiress's parents and brothers. Now that she's grown up, she's stealing her husband. She seems to do nothing, but in reality all the benefits go to her. The real heiress can't win. Their voices were loud and Qin Yu's face became even paler. She looked at Qin Shuo with unease and confusion. Shuo, did I kill my sister? Why is this happening? I never wanted to ruin you too. Qin Shuo ignored her and lunged again towards the ambulance that was about to close, but in the next second he was grabbed and punched heavily in the face. Qin Feng's eyes were bloodshot, his face full of resentment towards Qin Shuo. You scum, you killed my sister, I want you to pay with your life. Back then you were wavering between Qin Yu and Nan Nan, too cowardly to make a decision yourself, but you made my sister bear the consequences for you. Beast, I'm going to kill you. His fists rained down on Qin Shuo's face. The latter stood motionless, allowing him to hit. The Qin family rushed forward to pull Qin Feng away, shielding Qin Shuo behind them. Qin's mother said in a deep voice, there must be some misunderstanding in this matter. We will hire professionals to verify the authenticity of these videos and give the public an explanation. My son and Qin Yu have a good relationship, but there is absolutely nothing inappropriate. The father of her child is unknown. Our families have a long-standing friendship, and coupled with Nan Nan's grief over the loss of her son, we wanted to help my sister solve her problem. We discussed this matter with the Qin family a long time ago. The reason we didn't plan to announce it was to prevent the child from feeling inferior about their background and being criticized. We hope everyone will look at it rationally and not spread rumors. These words had a hint of threat. The onlookers were just watching the show and certainly didn't want to get involved in trouble, so they all backed away. The Qin family, however, did not cooperate with her PR efforts, angrily denouncing, bullshit. You killed our daughter and still want to confuse the public here. This video is not fabricated at all. Your son was clearly married to Nan Nan, yet he still had an affair with Qin Yu and even harmed his wife and killed his child for her. This is an antisocial personality and he must be arrested and sentenced. The Qin family immediately brought in appraisers on the spot, who determined that there were no problems with the videos. Their beloved younger sister-daughter is dead, and they want justice for Nan Nan. Mother Qin's face turned cold and she recklessly said, we wanted to marry Nan Nan into our family from the start. She is a descendant of your Qin family. If you don't cherish her yourselves, how can you expect others to? Qin Shuo is at fault, but can your family absolve itself of guilt? Qin, you seduced my son. Who knows if she instigated the murder or even if she planned it. Or perhaps it was planned by your Qin family. She is trying to drag the entire Qin family down with her. The Qin family was indignant and immediately started fighting with Qin's mother, creating a chaotic scene of dogs biting each other. Qin Yu wanted to mediate, but Qin's mother, who had always been kind to her, suddenly pushed her away with a look of disgust. Jinx, stop pretending to be a good person. Her parents and brother, who had always doted on her, also looked at her with indifference and suspicion in their eyes. Why did you interfere in your sister's marriage, Qin Yu? Are you deliberately trying to force her to her death? No, that's not how it is. Qin Yu covered her face and wept bitterly. She didn't understand why she was suddenly being condemned by everyone, with the relatives who once loved her now glaring at her with hostility. She ran to Qin Shuo, hoping he would protect her as he always had, but saw him distraught, crying and laughing. Nanan, I was wrong, please come back. I won't be with Qin Yu anymore. I only want you, I beg you to come back. Qin Yu broke down and said, Shul, please help me, I really didn't mean to make my sister jump. You know me, I bought a plane ticket to go abroad a long time ago and I was just waiting to hand over Shao Zun to you today and leave forever without coming back. I had no intention of breaking up your marriage at all. Why doesn't anyone believe me? Why did my sister choose to jump off the building today? If she was unhappy with me, why didn't she say so? If she wasn't willing, she could have just told me, why do something like this? It makes things so difficult for me now. In the past, seeing Qin Yu shed a single tear would break Qin Shuo's heart, and he would want to kill the whole world just to see her smile. But now, looking at her pitiful, ignorant and innocent appearance, he suddenly finds her repulsive. His gaze fell on the birthday banner behind Qin Yu that hadn't been taken down yet, and he remembered Nan Nan cooking longevity noodles for him all alone, and his heart clenched painfully. How heartbroken must Nan Nan have been then, that both he and the Qin family forgot her birthday. Yet Qin Yu, the beneficiary, was at this moment wearing an innocent expression, claiming she was not at fault, and shamelessly asking why Nan Nan didn't speak up if she was unwilling. Qin Shuo stared at Qin Yu and coldly asked, Qin Yu, are you really as innocent and harmless as you make yourself out to be? Back when Nan Nan and I got married, you would send me photos of you chasing the aurora every now and then. You keep saying you don't want to ruin my marriage, but every time you play hard to get, hooking me and not letting go. And the time we crossed the line, you called me in the middle of the night crying that you were being followed. I was worried about you and took a flight to find you overnight. Are you innocent? How are you innocent? I can't escape the blame for Nan Nan's death, and neither can you. Qin Yu trembled all over, looking at the Qin family for help. Before the Qin family could speak, Qin Shuo interrupted with a cold sneer. You Qin family members were also the last straw that broke Nan Nan's back. Don't forget, yesterday was her birthday, but you put on a big show for a foster daughter. After speaking, he ignored the police's obstruction and rushed into the ambulance. Qin Shuo held the bloody corpse and said tenderly, Nan Nan, don't be afraid, your husband is here. It's just a pity that this time no one responded to his words anymore. At the hospital, no matter how crazy Qin Shuo got, he couldn't get into the morgue. He could only watch as the police who had been called escorted him away, further and further away from his Nan Nan. At that moment, a piece of Qin Shuo's heart was emptied. He stopped struggling. Many reporters had arrived outside and the spotlights flashed incessantly. He was pushed onto the car like a walking corpse, cut off from the sounds of the world. In the interrogation room, Qin Shuo blankly held Qin Nanan's photo, not saying a word. No matter what the police asked, he seemed not to hear. The Qin Nan Nan in the photo was younger than now, with lively eyebrows and eyes, but a little dark and thin. This was taken by Qin Shuo for her the year she was found and brought back to the Qin family. He didn't expect that after all these years he would only have this one photo of her, while he had tens of thousands of photos of Qin Yu. If he could go back in time, he would definitely take many photos of Nan Nan, smiling, crying, walking, cooking for him, and their group photos. He would never be impatient again. Qin Shuo hugged the photo tightly as if he was embracing Qin Nan Nan, his mind echoing with the words she used to say to him. Shuo, I'm telling you, the baby is super healthy, as strong as an ox. I told you a long time ago that I look thin, but I'm actually very healthy. After all, my master is a TCM master. And I've taken my pulse, it's a boy. Your family has hope for an heir. How about we have a daughter in a couple of years and she takes my last name? It was at this moment that Qin Shuo finally understood how much Nan Nan trusted him to unknowingly eat the food laced with abortifacients. Unfortunately, he understood too late. In the interrogation room, the man cried like a child who had lost the whole world. The police shook their heads. If only he had known this would happen, what a scumbag. Did he think he could evade legal responsibility by staying silent? Intentional homicide, the evidence is conclusive. The death penalty is a certainty. The Qin family is here, saying he has a mental illness and requesting bail pending trial. Qin Shuo was soon released from the police station. Outside the door, Qin Yu arrived. She threw herself into Qin Shuo's arms, sobbing helplessly. Shuo, you're all I have left. Please don't leave me, okay? I know it's hard for you to accept your sister's sudden death, but the dead are gone, and those of us who are left behind must look forward. Life goes on. I've explained things clearly to my parents and I won't be going back. Mrs. Qin has also agreed to let me leave this sad place with you to heal. And from now on, the three of us will live a good life together, okay? With that, she raised her head, looking at Qin Shuo with hopeful eyes. In the past, Qin Shuo loved Qin Yu's eyes the most. He said that there was a galaxy in Qin Yu's eyes, the most beautiful scenery in the world. The moment he saw her eyes, Qin Shuo was willing to offer her the whole world. Qin Yu thought he would soften, but she didn't expect. Qin Shuo threw her hard onto the ground, his eyes filled with disgust as if he were looking at a cockroach. Does the Qin family not want you either? Stop playing tricks from 3 years ago with me. The Qin family was foolish and easily manipulated by you, but I won't be. 3 years ago you broke off the engagement with me on one hand, and secretly sent me some melancholic updates visible only to me on the other. You even deliberately led the Qin family to see that you were withdrawing for the sake of Nan Nan's overall situation, making the Qin family resent Nan Nan and feel guilty towards you. Then you seduced me, got pregnant, and wanted to force Nan Nan away completely, right? Because you knew that temporary guilt wouldn't be enough. Only when Nan Nan completely lost hope in us and left us could you continue to secure your position as the Qin family's heiress. Qin Yu's face turned pale and she kept shaking her head in denial. I didn't, you're talking nonsense. Qin Shuo was too lazy to listen to her excuses and sneered. What an innocent beauty, deceiving the Qin family and deceiving me, but unfortunately, you can't deceive me this time. I have investigated all the previous frame-ups you did to Nan Nan. I will notify the Qin family and let them completely see your true colors. Next, you will pay a painful price for Nan Nan's death. Qin Yu turned around and tried to run, but it was too late. At the entrance of the police station, she was dragged into Qin Shuo's car and thrown into an uninhabited villa. There were many homeless people covered in lice, and their eyes lit up when they saw her. Qin Shuo pushed her into the crowd without any pity. This woman is yours. As long as you don't kill her, play with her to death. No. Shuo, you can't do this to me. Qin Shuo curled his lips coldly. Of course I can. Because of you, Nan Nan died. I'm in so much pain that I want to die. Why should you be uninvolved? Qin Yu was dragged away by the homeless man. She never thought that one day the person she loved would treat her like this. She regretted it immensely. She should have left here and never come back then. She was clearly not willing to be with him. Why should she bear the pain in the end? 6 months later, Qin Shuo's verdict was delivered. Released without guilt due to mental illness. It wasn't the Qin family pulling strings, but rather Qin Shuo genuinely developed a case of schizophrenia. At that time, having faked my death to escape, I was in the remote mountains competing with my master to pick century-old wild ginseng. Old man, I picked more than you. Humph. This old man's ginseng is older than yours. Look, it even has a baby face. Master threw me a ginseng doll that looked like a child, and the moment I saw it, tears streamed down my face. This ginseng doll looks exactly like my child. Is it a coincidence? Or is it a blessing from the heavens? I held the ginseng doll and broke down in tears, unable to control myself. What's wrong? Master was terrified and apologized to me repeatedly. Oh dear, I admit defeat, okay? You have more, you win, but I can't cook, so you still have to cook today. I want to eat roast chicken. Why have you been like an automatic faucet since you came back from outside, crying whenever you want? Oh my goodness. Oh, don't cry or the ginseng doll will be cried away. It's most afraid of human crying, and if it kills itself, it won't fetch a good price. Hearing that it would make the ginseng doll cry to death, I quickly stopped crying. Master, is it alive? The old man with white hair and a youthful face stroked his beard and nodded with great seriousness. Yes, if there is enough sincerity, the ginseng doll can come alive, but it requires a lot of troublesome operations, such as feeding it with heart's blood, and continuously absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth every day, taking care of it like a child. But these are too troublesome, let's just sell it. Hey, what are you doing? When I heard that heart's blood could bring the ginseng doll to life, I didn't hesitate to use a silver needle to draw a drop of heart's blood and feed it to it. It seemed like a flash of light passed by in an instant, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye. Master was so angry that he jumped up and down, saying that I was being ridiculous. This kind of spiritual treasure of heaven and earth requires more than just a drop of blood, and it can't be raised in a day or two. But I didn't care at all, hugging the ginseng doll and giggling foolishly. As long as it can live, I am willing to put in any amount of time and effort. This is my poor child, it's back. This time I must protect it and never let anyone hurt it again. I named the ginseng doll Onbao, which was the name I had originally prepared for my child. My master had no choice but to search through ancient books and help me raise this legendary ginseng doll. Until one day the old man was injured again for a herb, and it happened that we ran out of rice at home, so I took some herbs down the mountain for supplies. After shopping, I remembered that Onbao had grown bigger recently and needed some new clothes. My craftsmanship is average, so I went down the mountain to buy her some new ones and also bought some toys. As I was about to go back, a black luxury car stopped in front of me, and Qin Shuo rushed out of the car excitedly, wanting to hug me. Nan, you're not dead. You're really not dead. Do you know how much I've missed you since you've been gone? I dodged his embrace. Sorrow filled Qin Shuo's eyes. You hate me, don't you? I know it was my fault back then. I shouldn't have been seduced by Qin Yu and deprived you of your right to be a mother. After you left, I kept thinking back, if we hadn't gone that far back then, how beautiful and healthy our child would be now, how happy we would be. Nan, I know I was wrong. I listened to his bullshit indifferently, unable to stir up even the slightest emotional fluctuation. There are no ifs. Qin Shuo's face was pale and he lowered his head with a bitter smile. I know my sins are heavy. I haven't been able to sleep at night for the past 6 months. Qin Yu has also been tortured by me beyond recognition, but I still can't forget you. Later I came to the place where you grew up. Only here seems to still have your aura. That day I accidentally discovered you. I was extremely excited, but I didn't dare to disturb you. I originally thought that I would be satisfied as long as I could see you from a distance. But I'm too greedy. I always think back to my mistakes, thinking that if I could start over I would definitely make up for you. Nan, I know what I'm saying may be shameless, but can you give me a chance to make it up to you? I laughed speechlessly. Why do you think I would start over with you just because you apologized? Can't you see that I would rather die than have anything to do with you? It's ridiculous for a murderer to ask for my forgiveness. If you really want forgiveness, why don't you turn yourself in? Qin Shuo's face turned pale from my words and he could barely stand. He mocked himself. You're right, I don't deserve forgiveness. I should atone for my sins. He took out a card and handed it to me. I know money can't make up for it, but I hope it can make you feel better. I didn't take it, so he could only put it on the ground, hoping I would pick it up. Nan, goodbye. He looked at me deeply, turning around with reluctance. Behind him I saw the Qin family. They had arrived long ago but stood a few steps away, looking like they wanted to acknowledge him but didn't dare to. Nan, why did you fake your death and deceive us? Do you know how heartbroken and sad your mom and dad were because of your death? I retorted coldly. Oh? Mrs. Qin, how much sadness and grief do you have? The moment the words Mrs. Qin came out, my mother immediately covered her mouth and cried out in pain. She collapsed into my father's arms, her eyes full of guilt. Nan, Mom is sorry, your parents shouldn't have been unfair, but please believe that our love for you is the same. When I heard the news of your death, my heart stopped. You are a piece of flesh that fell from my body, how could I not love you? I directly exposed them. Stop pretending here. You don't love me, nor do you love Qin Yu. Otherwise, why did you turn a deaf ear when Qin Shuo treated her like that? Isn't it because her affair with Qin Shuo was exposed, and you lost all face, and she is no longer the daughter you were proud of? Now you're asking for forgiveness not because you've suddenly repented, but because the cooperation between the Qin family and the Qin family has ended, and scandals have frequently emerged, leading to the company's decline, right? The Qin family's faces were extremely awkward. Indeed, since the public opinion fermented, the Qin family's reputation in the industry has been ruined. Many cooperations have been called off, and the break with the Qin family has made matters worse. At their level, it is not easy for the company to take a step further. There is still hope if the two families are twisted into one rope, but Qin Yu, this adopted daughter, ruined it. Watching her daughter's back, Madame Chen's heart trembled. "Nan, where are you going?" "A place without you," I said without looking back, planning to take the old man to another mountain to gather herbs. It just so happened that the existing herbs on this mountain had been almost completely gathered. Qinshuo fell ill after returning. He confessed repeatedly, but the Qin family repeatedly bailed him out by claiming he was mentally ill. Finally, he found evidence that he was conscious when he killed the child and finally received his sentence. The Qin family also completely abandoned him. I also received a large transfer from Qin Shuo before his death with the note, "I'm sorry, I hope I can make it up to you in the next life." A chill ran down my spine and I donated all the money, only hoping to end my karma with Qin Shuo and never see him again. Meanwhile, the Qin family's business deteriorated, and Chen's parents were killed in a car accident on the way to a business negotiation. The hit-and-run driver was Qin Yu. After killing her adoptive parents, she turned herself in, stating that she hated them for knowingly not helping her with her situation. Qin Feng became depressed due to his family's bankruptcy. But none of that matters to me anymore. I took Bao and my master to settle in a larger mountain, becoming true hermits.